All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for watching this video today. In this video, you're going to want to watch this because this is some crazy stuff that's about ready to go down in the next few days, right before the Trump inauguration, okay? And in this video, we're going to talk about the lion's den from Daniel, okay? And what I'm about ready to show you is clearly what this is all about, okay? The Commanders and the Detroit Lions. It's going to happen. I know this on here it says January 19th. But the game in the United States is actually on January 18th. But here in Germany, the game actually falls on January 19th. Now, that is one day before Trump takes office as the commander-in-chief in Washington, right? Well, this game is featuring the Lions and the Washington Commanders from D.C., right? Trump, the next day, is going to be inaugurated as the commander-in-chief, okay? So what is this game all about? How is this so biblical? This is so biblical. And we're going to talk about that, guys, and some crazy connections to the Bible with this game. But the first thing that we need to know in order to understand this riddle is the number 666 and the number 616, okay? These are the two numbers of the number of the beast, right? The most famous number of the beast, which, as you can see here, the majority of ancient Greek manuscripts of the New Testament use 666 as the number of the beast. However, a small amount of manuscripts, including the early papyrus P115, dated to the 3rd century, record the number as 616. Okay, so both these numbers are considered the number of the beast, right? And we have the lions, which could be considered a beast, right? Facing the commanders, right? And Trump is going to become the commander in chief and a day after this game, right? And of course, this is a playoff game, guys, a very important game. The winner of this game will move on to the semifinals and one win away from the Super Bowl, okay? So let's just talk about this, guys. So knowing what we know now about the number 616 and the number 666 being the numbers of the beast, I want to give a big shout out to Derek from Gematrinator right here, guys. This is his channel. He's put together a huge slide sheet of the current NFL playoff records. So we're talking about the teams here. This is a slide sheet or a slideshow. Um, Over here on the left side, here's all the teams, right? Here's Detroit, the Lions, at the number 11 spot. They are currently on 615 wins. Okay. Now, what did I just tell you about the number of the beast being 616, right? So the Lions going into this game, they can win their 616th game all time, including the playoffs. That's the alternate number of the beast. Now, the Washington team, remember this game is Detroit Lions versus Washington. In that same game, the Washington team, who are currently on 13-18 games played overall, okay, which is crazy. The Washington team in the regular season is on 13-18 games played, and they can win their 666th game coming up this Saturday, okay? So the Lions can win their 616th game, and the Commanders can win their 666th game. Okay, these are both the numbers of the beasts. So what is the chance of that, guys? Now, notice there's another team in the playoffs right now who's going to be playing also. They can get their 666 win in the Super Bowl. Or sorry, no, to go to the Super Bowl, the Philadelphia Eagles can win their 666 game, and if they lose the Super Bowl, the Philadelphia Eagles record would be 666 wins and 666 losses, okay? So these three teams, Washington, Philadelphia, and Detroit, all have this connection between their 666 win and their 616th. Now, again, in the Bible, the 666 and the 616 are the number of the beast, but there is this verse in Daniel Now, you guys remember the book of Daniel. Daniel and the lion's den, right? Daniel and the lion's den. A very famous part of the Bible, right? And so this, let me show you first how, remember, I told you the Lions can get their 616th win, right? In this game coming up versus the Commanders. Well, let's look at the Commanders team, guys. The coach of the Commanders is Daniel Patrick Quinn. He's born on September 11th, 1970. I mean, wow. So I'm telling you that this is all about the book of Daniel. But the coach of the Commanders, who could lose to the Lions, his name is Daniel. Now, not only that, but the coach of the Lions is Daniel Allen Campbell. So the Lions coach is Daniel, and the Commanders coach is Daniel. So you can't tell me that this is not a Daniel in the Lions Den riddle, okay? Both coaches named Daniel of both these teams. And it gets better than that, guys, because the starting quarterback, let me just look him up. The starting quarterback for the Washington Commanders is Jaden Daniels. Okay, so not only are both coaches of this game both named Daniel, the starting quarterback for the Washington team is Jaden. You see it, guys, in his name? He's got the den in his name, like the den, the lion's den. Jaden Daniel. Daniel in the lion's den. So he could lose. Jaden Daniels, the den and the Daniels, and the coach of the team, Dan Quinn, could lose against the Lions and Daniel Campbell, and the Lions could pick up their 616th, right? The Lions could pick up they're on 615 now. They could pick up their 616th win, which is the number of the beast. And what did they say in Daniel 6:16, guys? Look at this. Then the king commanded, and they brought Daniel and cast him into the den of lions. And now the king spake and said unto Daniel, Thy God, whom thy servest continually, he will deliver thee. So in Daniel 6:16 is the verse saying to cast Daniel into the lion's den. And look at look at the amount of wins that the Lions could come that game, 6:16. And don't forget the Commanders, who have Daniel Quinn as their coach and Jaden Daniels as their quarterback, they, if they win, they could get their 666th win all time, right? They're on 665 right now. If they win against the Commanders or the Lions, they would become 666 win. So both teams can get their number of the beast win, okay? The Lions 616 and the Commanders 666. Now, that's not even it, guys, because why is all this 666 stuff happening right now? Why all the number of the beast? Well, on Inauguration Day, when Trump becomes president, the moon landing will be exactly 666 months old. On the exact day of the inauguration, the moon landing will be 666 months ago. Okay. Not only that, on the day of the inauguration, the numerology for that date is 120 plus 20 plus 25, which equals 66. Remember, there are 66 books in the Bible. So 66 date numerology on the 20th, and it's 666 days or months exactly after the moon landing. Now, not only can the Lions get their 616th win, the alternate number of the beast, Trump is going to be inaugurated as the commander-in-chief. Remember, this game is the Commanders versus the Lions. Daniel and the Lions Den and the Commanders. Now, let's read Daniel 6. Remember, this is all about the sixes, right, guys? The number of the beast is 666. In Daniel 6, it's all about Daniel and the Lion's Den, okay? Let's read a little bit about this. It pleased Darius, who is the king over Babylon, to set over the kingdom 120 princes, which should be over the whole kingdom. And over these, he set 3 presidents. So not only am I talking about Donald Trump becoming president right after this Daniel the Lion's Den game with the Commanders and the Lions, it says in the verse it says that over these 120 princes, the king Darius set 3 presidents. You see, 3 presidents. Well, Trump is about ready to be elected the president, but who was the first among them? Daniel. Daniel is literally considered a president, guys. The Commanders and the Lions are about ready to play. The commander-in-chief, the president. Trump is going to be inaugurated the next day. Now, remember, I told you in Daniel 6:16, like the Lions can get their 6:16 win, it says Daniel was cast into the lion's den. And again, the Daniel is the coach of both the Commanders and the Lions. Both coaches, Daniel, and the lead quarterback for the Commanders is Jaden Daniels, right? Now Trump is going to be inaugurated as the 47th president 2 days later, right? Well, in gematria, the word beast equals 47. Trump's going to be inaugurated as the 47th president. We're talking about the number of the beast. The lions are the beasts. Okay? But guys, let me just show you. Trump is going to be inaugurated as the 47th president, right? And he was originally the 45th president. So he was the 45th, and now he's going to be the 47th. Now, the number 4547 is a perfect number for this ritual. Because look at this. And let me go over to X for a minute. So go make sure you guys, if you have X, go subscribe to this channel, Decoding Oz. Now, I was already seeing this before he posted this, but he also seeing this riddle. Look at what he posted, guys. Decoding Oz posted, in Daniel 6:16, the king commanded that Daniel be cast into the den of lions, just like the lions are facing the commanders, right? The lions, as he said here, just as I said, the lions can pick up their 616th win, just like in Daniel 6:16, he tells them to throw him into the den of lions. Now, how does this connect to Trump, who's going to be the 47th commander-in-chief? He was also the 45th. Well, look at this, guys. Donald Trump, as Decoding with Oz also posted, he can become the 45th and the 47th president 2 days after this Lions Commanders game. And 4547, the number, is the 616th prime number, guys. You guys understand what I'm showing you here? The Lions can get their 616th win against the Commanders, and the 616th prime number is 4547, and this is the Trump number, 4547. Daniel in the lion's den. In Daniel 6:16, Daniel's thrown into the lion's den, and again 6:16. The prime number is 4547. This is Trump. Now, I'm not making any clear predictions here about who's going to win this. Either way, the number of the beast comes, right? The 666th win for the Commanders, Washington right here, 666th win, or the Detroit Lions can get their 616th, right? So either way, you have this, right? Now let's go back to the book of Daniel. Let's read more. And over these 3 presidents, Daniel was the first. And the princes might give accounts unto them, and the king should have no damage. Then this Daniel was preferred above the presidents and princes, because he had an excellent spirit, and the king thought to set him over the whole realm, just like Trump is about ready to be set over the whole realm of the United States, right? Then the presidents and the princes sought to find occasion against Daniel and concerning the kingdom, but they could find none occasion nor fault, for as much as he was faithful, neither was there any error or fault found in him. Then said these men, we shall find an occasion against Daniel. Okay, so you guys know the story. But look at this. All the presidents of the kingdom and governors and princes and the counselors and the captains have consulted together to establish a royal statute and to make a firm decree that whosoever shall ask a petition of any god or man for 30 days, save he the king, Darius, he shall be cast into the den of lions, okay? And long story short, guys, King Darius loves Daniel, right? But Daniel ends up being caught praying to God in secret, and these people catch him and they assemble against Daniel and they find him praying and they bring this to King Darius, and King Darius, even though he's reluctant, he must throw Daniel into the lion's den. And that's where it gets us to Daniel 6:16. And look how many letters this verse has, guys. Daniel 6:16 in the Bible has 148 letters. In gematria, Donald J. Trump equals 148. But that's neither here nor there. 6:16, Daniel, right? So, but just to bring some more into this really fast before we get to the next part. Earlier in the book of Daniel, before we get to the lion's den part, we have the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Now, this story is about three people being thrown into the fiery furnace. Do you guys understand? This is playing out in front of our eyes. We just had the fires break out in Los Angeles. This story is about three men being thrown into the fiery furnace. And then later on in Daniel, we run into this story about Daniel in the lion's den. Okay? So in Daniel, it talks about both the fiery furnace of Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, and later on it talks about the lion's den. So we just had the fiery furnace in Los Angeles, and now we're going to have the lion's den game right before Trump becomes president. And again, Trump will become the 45th, 45, 47 president. That's the 616 prime number. And again, the Lions can become 616th wins all time in their history. So do you see how perfect this is? Not only that, guys, in the book of Daniel, you notice how the first thing it says is Darius. Darius, the king who throws Daniel into the lion's den. Well, who's Darius? Well, isn't there probably a football player named Darius on the Lions? Look at this. Zadarius Smith on the Lions. And again, it's King Darius who throws Daniel into the lion's den. And the guy he's going to be trying to go after, this guy is a pass rusher. He rushes after the quarterback in football. He's going to be going after Jaden Daniels. So Darius is going after Jaden Daniels to try to take him down. And in the book of Daniel, it's Darius, the king, who's going to throw Daniel into the lion's den. And the Lions have a player named Zadarius. He's going to be chasing Jaden Daniels. It's just absolutely mind-blowing. So I think that's okay. So another thing that's coming up that's going to line up with this day on January 19th, guys, it's going to be exactly 1028 days after this date that so what's this, guys? The girl runs onto the tennis court on June 3rd, 2022 or 2021, I can't remember. And she's wearing the shirt 1028 days left. What do we have 1028 days left till? Well, look at this. The countdown for this began when last renovation, the French thing, they began their countdown on March 28th, 2022. That means, let's go to March 28th, 2022. That was when the countdown started for this 1028 days. And if you go to the day of this football game, essentially, and the day before inauguration, January 19th, 2025, You're going to land on exactly 1028 days from then this countdown, the 1028 days countdown on the shirt. When they started the countdown, 1028 days later is, and a big shout out to Casey Jones Astrology on YouTube for adding this in. I just saw him write me this. But look, 1028 days, guys. This is the end of the countdown, according to them, right? Because it started on March 28, 2022, to the 19th, or to this game between the Lions, the Daniel and the Lions Den, which is happening on the 18th or the 19th if you're in Germany. It's 1028 days. We have 1028 days left, guys. And that comes down to this. So what do we have 1028 days left till? Well, till Trump becomes president, because the next day after this 1028 days countdown is Trump's presidency. So this is the 1029th day, which is also 147 weeks, guys. President of the United States equals 147. There's 147 rooms on the White House. So anyway, that is from this countdown starting the 1028 days to the day before the inauguration, right? So it's all connected, guys. Everything pointing to this time period of Trump's inauguration, the Lions Den. The two coaches coaching in the game before is Daniel Quinn and Daniel Campbell. And Jaden Daniels. Zadarius Smith chasing the Daniel. King Darius throws Daniel into the Lion's Den. It's so perfect. And there's one last thing I want to share here. Now remember the verse, Daniel 6:16, where he gets thrown into the Lion's Den, where the king commands. Look at this. The word commander is literally in the verse Daniel 6:16, and the Lions can pick up their 616 win all time against the Commanders and Jaden Daniels. Like, it's so perfect. Anyways, the whole verse, if you take this whole verse, you copy and paste it in the gematria calculator, in the Chaldean calculator. Now, why is Chaldean important? Because in the book of Daniel, it's all about the Chaldeans. Right here, they're the first mentioned in Daniel 1, where they, alongside Daniel, they are brought to Babylon to study Chaldean. And the Chaldean sorcerers cannot answer the dream question for the king, but Daniel can, because Daniel has the guidance of God. So the Chaldeans, right? So if you take this whole verse, this whole Daniel 6:16, copy and paste it into the Chaldean gematria calculator, you get 589. Now, in Jewish Latin gematria, Donald Trump equals 589. So Donald Trump equals 589. And the whole verse of Daniel 6:16 equals 589 in Chaldean, which again is tied to the book of Daniel. Right here, they even talk about it on the Wikipedia. You get the same value as Donald Trump, 589. What are the chances of that? Now, here's the last piece that makes this super important. From the day that Trump declared his you know what in 2020 to the inauguration is 58 months and 9 days. Like Donald Trump equals 589, and the whole verse of Daniel 6:16 equals 589 in Chaldean. And that is 58 months and 9 days since Trump declared the COVID. And that is also 1776 days. I mean, just come on now. This is absolutely absurd, guys. So I hope you guys got all that. I hope you understood how all this comes together with the 666, the 616, the Lion's Den, the Trump, the Commanders, all this connects. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you guys in the next video. Take care.